we've been talking a lot about D&D lately.
I mean, and there's more to talk about.
And there is more to talk about today. I figured since our site is called Roll for Crit, it's okay. We could pay a little extra lip service to Dungeons & Dragons and role-playing games.
Why don't you roll dice for that?
All right, come on. I don't have any.
That makes it's a critical miss.
Wizards of the Coast just announced a bunch of stuff. Hot on the heels of us finishing.
Oh, so good. You gotta just keep hitting the hand.
Finishing our Lost Mine of Phandelver campaign. Brand new books coming out for the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. The first thing is this whole new storyline called the Storm Giant Thunder Giant Land. Storm King's Thunder.
You got a couple of the words.
And it's all about giants, and the deal is giants have decided that they need their rightful place in the eyes of the gods, and they're coming out, and there's all kinds of different giants. There's fire giants, there's frost giants, there's mud giants, and lightning giants, and all kinds of different giants. And they're taking over, and that's the deal.
So they're sick of being called Dungeons and Dragons. It should be Dungeons and Giants.
Yeah, that's what they think. I mean, they're like, we're bigger than some dragons. And there's also this new thing about Rune Magic, which is where you're infusing magic onto other objects, and that's going to be a whole new big deal.
I'm really excited because I remember when we were talking just after the recording, I remember telling you, like, I really wanted there to be a lot more when like enchanting matters more with weapons and stuff. I'm like, that's literally what I was asking for.
That's what they got.
I'm quite impressed.
They heard you. And this is a campaign for levels 1 to 11, so it's a new story branch, not continuing the Tiamat stuff. So I guess they finished that, and now it's this. And then they also have a book coming out called Volos Guide to Monsters, which is like
a new monster manual.
Yeah.
So more monsters.
More
Who
monsters.
Is Volo,
Don't know.
Oh, okay.
I figured he's like the Newt
Maybe
commander of D&D.
Could be something related to this story, like someone you meet is Volo.
Is that his name in Harry Potter? The guy, the Fantastic Beasts? Wasn't it? Is that a different Harry Potter? Newt?
Don't know.
All right.
But that's not, like I just said now, exactly something I wanted. I think it makes sense. Giants would make for a good group. That would make sense to have sort of a sentient army. Like, it's not just some crazy wild beasts or something. Yeah.
And we know, that was a class, was not
half giant.
Right, something like that.
So then that'd be interesting if you make a half giant character, how they're going to react.
Or race, I should say, not class.
In the story. Does this add any new races?
I think there are going to be a couple of new class race options. I forget exactly what they are, but they're definitely in there.
So it definitely sounds like something to pick up.
And there's also even more stuff. There's going to be another board game to go with this from WizKids, and they also have a new some new ongoing series where they're going to have people playing it. That's going to have like Jonah Ray he's the new MST3K host, and Chris Hardwick, who hosts every show that exists now. It's like a Penny Arcade show, I think, Acquisitions Incorporated. They play like D&D. I think it's part of Penny Arcade's site. It's like a new series for them. So it seems they're really, like, they had a ton of announcements. They're really doubling down on all their content.
It's because they heard that we just finished our...
I know, we really need to get moving on our show because the crowd's getting full out there. We got to get while the getting's good.
You got to get these books then so you can incorporate them into the world.
We've got to get some giants.
Which I think that, at least, I know of what you're planning, because we've discussed. It sounds like that the Rune Magic would fit perfectly into your idea, like in terms of because you're planning a hub town, really. So if there was something that could upgrade a Rune Magic place or something, it would make. I think that
would be good. That would be good.
Easily fit very nicely, and of course, throwing more monsters is always a plus.
Well, I did want to add one more thing, which is that I think at certain retailers they're going to have like a special edition of the monster book, and the cover looks pretty much like it has Cthulhu on it. So I think we're going to get more of that kind of stuff in there too, which is cool.
But continuing on with D&D, I also found, because I actually took a vacation, a little trip with our friend Garrett to a festival. But on the ride there, we actually talked about, because he mentioned how he might D&D for a little bit.
Dungeon Master.
So you would actually get the experience,
right? To actually play.
In which we actually talked about like what would happen then, like if we make a new character and how that would work. And I actually was like, I'd probably actually take a magic roll, so then you know, since he would be switching out, since he's our magic user, because I assume Ivan would keep the same character, at least in terms of design, because we probably do a new story, but you can just copy and paste your character. And this way I get to try out something else.
I almost feel like you should do Pathfinder or something like that.
I thought about that, but he's already been so good. And we actually looked into the book, too, because we're like, how does starting equipment work? Like, we actually looked at, I didn't think about this. You actually pay for, like, how your character would probably live from, like, month to month.
Oh, right,
like,
right.
I didn't think
that's in the starter set.
So we both discussed, like...
But I'm like... Usually, I think people don't do that unless they're really into it.
We were discussing, like, how would our characters live?
Right.
Like, and we were thinking, like, well... Here he would probably live like this, but since we're out in a new town, it might be less because, like, so we discussed that, which is really funny to talk about. So I was curious to see how your story goes along. But I even mentioned, like, one of the things, like, I might be borrow the vampire from Zendikar. Planeswalker, he's like, oh God. So, and then, which led into a conversation. Like, what is neutral, chaotic versus, like, it's just really great.
Nobody knows. That's stuff.
Yeah. So, like, very excited
I
to
would
see.
probably want to be magic, except I just don't want to deal with the stuff.
Well, no, that was the things. I also was like, I'd probably be magic because this way, because I assume you would make a character to play in this.
Right.
Like, that way you could choose to be whatever the hell you want. You wouldn't have to feel guilty of being like, we don't have a magic person. Because this way we'd have a healer. You know, Ivan's probably a tank. Neil will probably, if he's assuming he kept a rogue, and if I'm magic, you pretty much have free roam.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.